Well, boys, I'm gonna have a little trouble speaking tonight, so we decided that we would invite a couple friendly faces back this week to talk. We're talking about Liverpool this week. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends normally who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. On top of me, okay, this is different tonight. If you're not watching, if you're on the audio, this is going to be a long intro. But if you're watching, up top to the left, that's Brad. He's always there. But to my right, up top, that's Jimmy. Welcome back, Jimmy. Hello. On that bottom row, we've got Sean. He's in the bottom. Whatever, he's waving at you. And then if we can get a big Red Card Radio round of applause for the only Tamzeed is back. What's going on? Hello. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back.
Yes, we're very, very glad to have you. And so, yeah, like I said, we're talking about Liverpool tonight. Kind of the same flow that we've been on for the last couple of weeks, but we decided we needed to get the two resident Liverpool supporters, get them on together, because I know that they'll have opposing opinions, and it's going to be like, back in the day, you guys remember the CNN show with Tucker Carlson and the other dude, and they were Crosshairs, I think is what it was called, and then Jon Stewart went on and made fun of everybody. Yeah, this was.
Should I have worn a bow tie?
Yeah, go get a bow tie real quick.
Is that Wolf Blitzer you're thinking of?
No, it wasn't Wolf Blitzer. I'll have to Google it later. Someone tell me in the comments who hosted Crosshairs with Tucker Carlson. But before we get too deep, hit the subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell, leave a comment down below, follow, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening to, whatever action you can take to follow us. We would really appreciate it. Share this episode with a friend. I think Manchester United supporters will be most interested in this conversation because, but before we get too deep, we do have one comment from last week. We had Will. It's actually a pretty, recent comment, and wasn't necessarily on topic about Newcastle. But the reports recently have come out that PSG have put Kylian Mbappe up for sale because he won't sign a contract extension. And apparently, the Saudis are like, I want a piece of that action, and bid 300 million euros or whatever the heck it was to buy him from PSG. PSG has apparently accepted that offer, and now it's up to Mbappe to decide if he's going to sign a 700 million euro singular year deal with the Saudi Arabian government to play football. So Will's comment says, if the Saudis buy Mbappe, will you guys finally admit that the Super League was a good idea?
No.
All right, there you have it. Will, maybe you should come on the podcast here soon, and we can discuss it further and see how Juventus is doing over the summer. So check back for that later, Will. But Brad, I'm gonna let you kick it off because this is kind of your baby. So take it away.
All right, boys. So we're gonna do a little bit. We're gonna start with the old, what last season was like. So I'm gonna throw it to the OG Tammy first. Tamzeed, what did you think of last year's season for Liverpool?
It's awful. It was a terrible season. Up until the last 10 games of the season, it was terrible. The football was bad. The players were bad. Everything about nothing was exciting about last season. Outside of absolutely hammering United. But then we lost to Bournemouth immediately after that. The most obvious banana skin game. So it was great. There's nothing likable about last season. It was a pure meme. I've deleted it from my brain.
Jimmy, any further thoughts?
Yeah, it's about the same. I mean, I think I told a couple of you that I just flat canceled my Peacock subscription, in January or February. I was done. I mean, it was kind of Liverpool's season last year felt like a waste of time.
Yeah.
I mean, we still tried to watch games for the most part. There were times where we would only watch a half or whatever. It was hard to watch it sometimes. Boring, uninspired, sloppy. There was injury riddled again. Everybody just felt tired. There were some small positives, like Tamzeed said. The 7-0 thrashing of United was a huge highlight, and that was essentially the only highlight. With I think one exception, and that is seeing Klopp like tear a hamstring berating a third official. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that was fun. Other than that, I mean, other than those things, Stefan Bajic, whatever how you pronounce his last name, seeing him kind of come up and get in the team and how he progressed, that was nice. But then he got hurt. It's Curtis Jones being out for a year. Harvey Elliott did pretty well at the beginning, regressed. It just wasn't. I mean, we're the whole thing about needing midfield. I guess we'll probably get into that. It was really apparent last year. We're just tired, didn't have enough depth for you're basically a 4-league team, and we had the depth to be a 1-league team barely. It seemed like with all the injury problems we had and just lack of quality, really.
Yeah, like the summer before that, all the transfers were bad. Like none of them are in the club now, outside of Darwin Nunez. Like they all got like either pushed on loan or they're gone. So it was just bad from top to bottom.
All right, Jimmy, who is your player of the year, and why is it Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Yeah, so that's a really in the notes for the listeners. There's a really weird spelling of Allison in the notes for this. But player of the year is Allison. I don't think there's anyone that really came close to his performance.
My player of the year is Naby Keita because he fell in August and just never came back up again. That was a personal highlight for me.
Yeah, he's our Reece James.
We never got an explanation of what happened. He just flopped and puzzled. Oh, Naby, he just fell, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I guess that works.
And then bounce.
And he's
my player of the year.
And he's already hurt again.
He's like a mascot for the season. He just fell and never got back up.
Yeah,
he played like 2 games.
He's the perfect encapsulation of the season.
And this was like his season to shine because it was like now he takes the helm. He's the guy in the midfield, and he's butthurt over not starting the Champions League final.
Right. Because last year he did work his way back into the team.
Yeah.
Or the year before that. Yeah. Like we had the NFT midfield for a while because he finally got in.
Mm-hmm.
He was finally healthy enough for the long enough time period. And then he missed that shot in the Champions League final, which is incredibly painful. And then fell off, and he fell, and he quite literally fell, and never came back again.
No, disappointing. He was supposed to be like kind of our next creative, great midfielder, and had half a good season once and flopped. He was a disappointing player, unfortunately. I was high on him too because I thought he was a pretty good player at Leipzig.
Yeah, I think everybody was when he came in. So that's a good choice there, Tammy. I think I know the moment of the year for both of you, but if one of you guys can just say it for us, because
it's basically been discussed already.
Yeah, I know, but look, on this podcast, there's one thing the three of us agree on, and that's United memes. So what is the moment of the year?
Oh, my moment of the year is when Vinicius Jr. stripped Joe Gomez in what was probably at that point becoming one of our best performances under Klopp to becoming one of the worst performances under Klopp. That's my moment of the year. It was a great time. Like it was spectacular. I've never seen a single defender collapse like this. I thought Dejan Lovren was back. I genuinely thought Dejan Lovren was back.
I was high on Lovren. I actually really liked him at Liverpool. You know, he did have bad times.
On what myth?
I missed the Tammy memes.
Dejan Lovren is, oh my god, Dejan Lovren is up there with like Christian Poulsen levels of trash that has come to this club.
If you had to take one back, Tamzeed, would you take back Lovren or would you take back Liverpool John Joe Shelby?
You know what? We sold the wrong midfielder. We should have sold Henderson and kept John Joe Shelby. At least he can
I don't know about that. I still John Joe Shelby. The problem with him is you put him on the field, he's good for about 40 minutes of that game, and then he can't play again for 3 games after that.
Yeah, like
he's going to get sent off.
Yeah, like John Joe Shelby's problem is that he is the AB of Premier League football. He will just lose his brain midway through. Because, I guess because he doesn't have any hair, so he just gets CTEs all the time.
He played the game like it was played in like the 80s when a lot of that stuff was acceptable.
There was nothing wrong with John Joe Shelby. He is just deranged as a person.
Yeah, bad decision maker. I'm happy to. I would have taken Lovren back.
Can somebody just say Liverpool 7-0ing United, please?
I mean, that
because like I'm putting that in the
for an entire. That basically salvaged any like banter I could do with somebody else, like United fans, because like, oh, we finished above you in the Champions League. Yeah, but we beat you 7-0. That's kind of like
probably the entire highlight of the season really was after that, watching the clips of Jamie Carragher sitting next to Gary Neville reacting to all the goals. That's probably the highlight of the season.
Dude, every year we hammer United and like Carragher takes that picture next to Neville.
Yeah, it's great.
Every year it's amazing.
It's the one thing we have to look forward to right now.
All right. Sean, you want to take over for some of this new season stuffs?
Yeah. So I don't really feel like we need to discuss manager or goalie. Maybe we can come back to defense. But where I want to start is an account I trust and I learned from a lot, Premier League Panel on Twitter, had an interesting couple of threads where in one thread he discussed about how Jordan Henderson leaving Liverpool would expose how much he held Liverpool back for the past few years, of how not technical he is, and how his work rate outperformed his skill on the field, and how much he was holding you guys back. And I want to parlay that with a different thread that talked about Lavia versus Caicedo, which in the moment they are very similar players. One is 19, one is 22 or 23. I forget how old Caicedo is. So obviously in the moment you would rather have Caicedo. He's a more complete player. Lavia's ceiling may or may not be higher. That's to be determined at some point. But they are both tempo control players. They're both a player that Liverpool would really enjoy to have, I'm sure. So I would like thoughts on Henderson and if you would like him out the door. And then why have you not bought Lavia yet for 40-ish million, whatever Southampton wants for him?
Dude, Jordan Henderson going to Saudi Arabia single-handedly changed my opinion on Saudi Arabia. They're my heroes now because they're willing to pay actual money for a fake footballer. All right, and to it, like I understand that we have outgrown the need for Jordan Henderson. I understand his value from 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19 to an extent, latter half 19, 20. Like I understand the need for a Henderson back then, but we're now an actual footballing team. Like we should be focused on playing football instead of hatchet ball to hit teams on the counter in quick transitions, right? Like we need to be better at this football thing because otherwise teams just find it incredibly easy to just give us the ball and then just blockade their goal, and then it's easy for them to hit us on the counter. We lost to Nottingham Forest, we lost to Leeds, we lost to Bournemouth this exact same way. It was his deficiencies became overall and he was always deficient. I've never seen a high level, professional level midfielder incapable of taking the ball on the half turn.
So Henderson has some good things. One, he's proven to be a pretty good leader, right? So, and oftentimes when we struggled, Henderson on the field just helped the team in general with a little bit of command and presence. So from that perspective, he was good. Now, once he started having the foot injury, he became a little bit more of a liability, and that happened in around 2018, I think it was. And then he had that when we won the league, he had a great year. He was awesome, but he's had constant injuries, can't stay fit. I mean, he's due to be out of the team. I'm kind of sad to see him go. I would like to kind of keep him because after losing Milner, who everybody knows I really like, I would like to kind of keep him as in the locker room as a leader kind of thing still, but he's definitely not a first team player anymore. My problem with Henderson is that as he started getting older and having those injury problems, they dropped him deeper to be more of that pivot midfield player, and he can't do that because Henderson doesn't scan the field. He never has.
He's can't skate.
Can't stand the field.
He does. If you watch Henderson, and I think I've talked about this on the pod. If when Henderson receives the ball, he only receives it in that direction. So he basically has 90 degrees, if maybe not even that much, 60 degrees, where he'll receive the ball and he can only go that direction. Now, if there's no one around him, then he can make the turn. But anytime under pressure, it's you give it to him, he's got this much window to pass the ball. And that's always been Henderson's problem. Now, he got better at playing a long ball over the top, but again, he's got to receive the ball facing that direction. Where Henderson was better early on in his career was when he could play a little bit more behind the striker, when he was a little more fit and could run and attack. That was when he was better. But when we had to drop him back, it was the only thing that he really provided was leadership.
Yeah, the exact point where Henderson's decline started was 2021. I want to say it's against Leicester, and he got like injured that season, and then it ended his season. And this is still like early on in the season. It was like January, and he just never came back the same since then.
Yeah, well, he battled that foot issue forever.
Yeah,
yeah.
You just couldn't run box to box anymore.
Before you guys move on to why you haven't bought Lavia, I would like to know how floored both of you guys were that Henderson made the World Cup roster.
I've said for a while he's a better captain than Kane. I think he should be on the World Cup roster just for his leadership.
Gareth Southgate's a loser. I don't.
Yes.
England outside of like France and maybe Portugal have probably the best talent factory in the world. But
Henderson didn't play bad in the World Cup.
It was a complete waste of a roster spot.
He wasn't bad. When he came onto the field, he changed the game for England a couple of times.
Oh my!
He hoofed the ball straight into the American fans. Yes, it was tremendous watching. But
I mean, at the time, like some of the other options they had on the field, Calvin Phillips, he's been trash for the last 2 years, basically can't get healthy, and then Mason Mount has been on a complete slide of form for a while. I don't know if it's confidence or whatever, but Jordan was, in my opinion, better than both of them.
But only if there was one midfielder there worth like 150 mil next to him. I mean, it's really cool that Jordan Henderson gets to play with like 250 mil next to him on either side, with like Declan Rice holding him back and then, Bellingham doing the other part. So
but again, you got Bellingham. Bellingham's your box-to-box guy. Rice is your pivot defensive player. It gave Jordan a little bit more I don't have to be all of it. And when he didn't have to do that, he was physically able to play the role better.
I just think they played easier teams. It's just slightly easy.
Well, they did.
I mean, he got poked by France. That was the first good team they played.
But I was surprised when Jordan played in the World Cup. I was surprised that because going into it, I was like, I don't think Jordan's going to play at all. I'm glad he's on the team. And then he came in. I'm like, well, he played okay. It's better than I thought. And then I thought he stayed decent. And I can't remember who he came in for, but whoever he replaced at one point was not playing well at all. And I thought Jordan came in and provided a spark, and it turned the game around a little bit for now against USA. England in general were trash. So I
do appreciate the breakdown. I was going for the memes of when I read the roster and saw Henderson's name and thought, what?
Gareth Southgate makes a team, and that's Gareth Southgate's team.
Yeah,
we all know that.
It's Southgate.
Southgate's a coward, so he can't he lacks the spine to tell stronger players to just go away. So it's his possible.
So why haven't
the fact that if England had started Vardy as their main striker in 2016 instead of playing Kane, they would have won the Euros.
I would probably admit that. In 2016,
yeah, in
Vardy was the hottest striker in England.
They've never been able to say no to star players. Well, it is what it is.
I don't know. In 2016, though, again, there was midfield issues with England. I don't know if they could even get them the ball.
Dude,
Why haven't you guys bought Lavia yet?
We tried today.
yeah, we tried today. Today was the first opening bid for Romeo Lavia.
I think I've heard 35 or 37, but I've also heard they countered us, but I haven't read anything about that.
Also, like
The
the
counter is
ball of
50.
Southampton to turn down 37 million after being relegated.
Yeah,
Because they want 50, and there's 2 other clubs that like they're hoping for a bidding war is what they want.
Yeah, but nobody else is going to pay.
Here's the thing, though: if the other clubs really wanted him and they were willing to pay 50, they would have already done it.
Already done it. Yeah, nobody. Lavia is quickly becoming a situation like Ismail Assar was for Watford.
And now they sold him 13 mil.
Yeah, now they sold him for 13 mil to Marseille. But like for several years, Watford were like steadfast. They will not sell Ismail Assar for anything less than 50 million. Right? And nobody, like United wanted him, Liverpool wanted him, Spurs wanted him. They all wanted him at some point. But like he was like, but Watford were like, no, we're not gonna like sell it. And now they're like forced to like sell him on the low.
Yeah,
because he's out of a contract next year.
Lafayette is obviously like a lot of teams like tertiary backup plan.
Yes,
and so they're not going to get 50 million. They're not going. Nobody's going to pay 50 million.
Yeah, nobody's going to pay
like fourth choice. Now for Liverpool, it's arguably their third choice. So like, I'm not. Are you going to pay 50 million for your third choice signing? Probably not. I mean, maybe Liverpool go at a 40. I think that's the best you're going to see, unless they work out some weird.
It's going to be a lot of
buy-on clause or
to get to 50.
Like, it's possible they could do some weird bonuses where they offer the 37 again and are like, okay, if we win the Champions League with him, you get 20 million.
I send Tyler Morton that way.
And also he's going to be bought next year by City, bought back for like 40 million. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. So like, why would somebody be like, hey, we could throw you that 40 mil now? And maybe like 2 million add-ons. Like
this is their time. This is their time because
that's why they're pushing for that 50 thing.
Is what's keeping Lavia at Southampton. So
I read my concern about Lavia right now is, I look at like work ethic, character, and some other things in transfers, and some of the things I saw today, like he was in the squad and basically didn't care at all in the game, head down, barely did anything, and that's not a good sign to me when I see that. I'm like, it sounds like we want him or whatever, but if he's going to be a baby and be picky, choosy, spoiled brat, then I'm not sure that I really want him that bad.
So I want to expand that though beyond just like Lavia though. Like what are you guys hoping Liverpool gets done in the transfer window? Like what are your main needs?
Well,
all right.
My two midfielders.
Sorry, Brad, go ahead.
I was gonna say sorry. You guys already have 2 attacking mids.
Yeah,
and so.
Yeah, but how many midfielders have we already let go?
Oh, I'm with you, but that's why I think that's why James is asking. I was going to ask the same questions, like, what do you guys want left in the window?
What are the broad strokes that you need to accomplish before the Premier League season starts?
The dream is Madrid panic and put money down for Mbappe, and we go get Tchouaméni. All right, that's we go get Tchouaméni for like 70, 80, whatever. He is infinitely better than Lavia will ever be. So like, just go for that.
I agree with that.
There's like 6 teams hoping that happens.
Yes.
That's actually been starting on the Chelsea Twitter of like, well, if Brighton doesn't want this 80 mil, why don't we just offer that to Madrid and see what happens?
Yeah, like, why don't we just put that to Madrid and like let's just see what maybe.
So I'm a similar boat, but I'm looking at it a different direction. And again, I'm biased to my other league. I am hoping we go after Kimmich from Bayern.
Oh no, we can't get Kimmich. Kimmich and Trent would concede every day.
Yeah, so we've been linked to him a couple of times, but I think he's a great player, and I think he would fill that role really well. And he brings a lot more.
Fantastic player. But Kimmich and Trent are the same player. The same strength, same weakness.
But that's the question though. What are we going to do with Trent? Like, because right now we've got rid of Naby Keita, right? We got rid of James Milner. That's 2 midfielders. So we got rid of Ox, not really a midfielder. He's
he's an in-between guy.
He works with the medical team.
It's rude.
It's true. And so now we're about to lose And we lose Firmino, right? So we're about to lose Henderson. We're about to lose maybe Fabinho. So we brought in 2 midfielders, and right now we're saying we're going to send 4 out the door.
And midfield was your biggest.
The net math on that thing.
To be fair, 2 of those 4 are nonsense.
Yeah, I mean,
2
so
of those
I would.
4, I do not count Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita as part of the Liverpool squad.
Well, but here's the thing though. Like again, like Naby Keita was a disappointment, but he should have been last year. It should have been his season.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, I wasn't disappointed that he was gone. Whatever. But like we're talking about, we had a midfield gap, and you look at the players going out versus coming in. They're all freaking midfielders that are leaving. And like one of our biggest problems last year was, yes, we had a lack of quality in our midfield, but we also had a lack of midfield depth because they're always all hurt. Curtis Jones was hurt. Stefan was hurt. Naby Keita was hurt the whole season. Thiago was hurt half the season. And there's rumor that he's going to go somewhere to Barcelona or something else. So, like, we can't lose all our midfield and not bring more. Like, Curtis Jones is back, but he's had injury problems too. I guarantee you he's not going to play every game of the season, even if he was fit.
So, something I want to echo his point on is that towards the end, when you guys were going on your run to end up challenging 4th but finishing 5th, was Trent. You guys were playing a back quote unquote 4, but Trent was really playing more like an 8.
Yeah,
it was 2-3 or something.
And then dropping back into a back 4 when he got back to his position, and then would move back into the midfield, and it would shift back to a back 3.
Yeah. So if we were going to double down on that, it's leaning towards like maybe that's an option as a midfield supplement with us sitting on midfield out. We're not signing a right back. We're not signing another center back that we could play 3 in the back, because Andrew Robertson's not the guy to play 3 in the back, and neither is Joe Gomez currently. Now Joe could be, but do you play Matip, Kanate, and Verge? Yeah, I mean that'd probably be a good solid back 3. Do you think all 3 of those are going to stay fit the whole season? Hell no. Maybe Verge, but Matip won't.
Yeah, Matip won't. Kanate won't. Realistically, we need to somehow keep Fabinho and then get Lavia, or we need 2 DMs. If Fabinho leaves, we need 2 DMs.
Yeah, I don't want Fabinho to leave. I'm hoping he stays. He had a bad season last year, but we know he has quality.
But he got better at the end of the season.
He did.
Swap to WM, we got like infinitely better performances out of Fabinho. But it was we need if Fabinho leaves, we need a senior DM. I think we heard like Sheikh Decore from Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I read about that too. Yeah.
So we'll see if that ever works out.
There's another guy from Bayern they've been going after. I can't remember who it is. I don't remember if he's a DM though or not. But he's another midfielder.
Like a proper DM. The DM market is just so crap this year. Like, it's just all like Arsenal got the only good one, and like everybody else is just mid to like 17.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. Okay, so midfield is that kind of seems like that's like the one that was Liverpool's biggest deficiency last year. Mm-hmm. If I mean, like everyone agrees, so need to strengthen midfield. So what are your expectations for next year? Assuming, well, you can assume whatever you want, but like assuming you get transfers in that you need, you strengthen. I mean, Klopp has come out and been like, we're trying our best. We're gonna do our best. Blah blah blah. Like, what are you expecting to see from next season's Liverpool?
And this is interesting because this is Klopp's first time managing a club past 7 years.
Brad,
unprecedented territory.
Brad is all into like the superstition type stuff. Like what is, like, how is that materially important? In my opinion, I think that's the most nonsense thing that I don't see how that matters, right? Like he's still Jurgen Klopp. Like the guy is still one of the best managers in world football. And just because he's
made the same argument for Pep.
Yeah, right. Like
but Pep's team every year, like every couple of years, is refreshed, is changed. Can we say the same for Liverpool?
Yeah, but does Liverpool have an unlimited budget like all the teams that Pep has managed?
I'm not. Look, I think Klopp is better than Pep because I think Klopp could do what Pep does with Pep's budget. I don't know if Pep could do what Klopp does with Klopp's budget.
I mean, the thing is, it's not like Liverpool are broke. All right, we're only figuratively broke. Like we're not.
I know, but the amount of money that you guys want to spend.
We're
responsible
literally the
spenders.
top 3 richest clubs
Let
in
me-
the world.
Let me be quiet and let's hear what y'all's expectations are.
I think our expectation is at least one Jamie Carragher clip next to Gary Neville where he's giving him a hard time.
Oh yes. I despite all the crap said about last season being a transition season, we didn't buy anybody to have a transition season. This is going to be the transition season. This is the season we're going to see Liverpool 2.0 under Klopp. So we'll see how that goes. Also, the Europa League might end up being a blessing because that way we could play like Bajcetic and Jones and Elliott will all get game time against like Czechoslovakian farmers.
Yeah, I think the Europa League suits Klopp uniquely in this situation because so if you think about the Europa League when Arsenal got in there in the first place, Wenger was still the manager. Wenger didn't he played the children. When you saw Arteta and Unai Emery in the Europa League, they played the first team players because like they felt like they needed to get a result. Klopp's not going to care. Klopp's going to be like, this is, the kids need to be bled and bleed them here. They'll get experience. And then if we happen to go far, if we end up in the semifinal, then maybe I make some changes. But Klopp seems like he's the guy that is like, hey, if I got to the semifinals with this team, I'm just going to rock with it.
He's already shown that.
Yeah.
He's incredibly sentimental.
I think there's some value there. I think that it's kind of whack to sub your goalie out in the 120th minute for the penalty goalkeeper, Brad.
Dude, and then
Kepa is the manager, bro. I don't know what you're
and
talking
then
about.
missing. Oh my god, that was great.
Okay. So you think this is a transitional year, Jimmy? Do you agree that you think this is a transitional year for Liverpool?
I'm setting myself up with low expectations. Right now, I don't feel like we've done enough in this transfer market. Now again, it's pending the rest of the transfers, right? If we think Henderson's gone, I don't think that's going to hurt us too much, but it could from a leadership perspective because again, a few years back, Henderson didn't play, and like Verge had the armband, would draw, and then we'd have Henderson, we kept winning. That hasn't been the case for probably 2.5 seasons. So I don't think Henderson's going to be a huge loss. I would think we will miss his leadership a little bit, maybe off the field. I think we lose Fabinho. That's going to hurt unless we can do a lot of business really quick and then get him into the lineup. Because like one of the biggest problems that we're going to have right now, along with some of these other teams, is we're already halfway through the preseason. And so the later you go, and this is one of the things I've always liked about Dortmund, they usually do their business really quick. This year they're not. I'm really concerned about them too. And Liverpool did good business early, but they didn't do enough yet.
They haven't finished.
Because we still have, again, if we're relying on Trent to play midfield, we have a defensive gap. There's a weird thing here. I think we're going to have depth issues. So, I mean, I hope it's
I don't think the Fabinho and Henderson transfers were planned the way like Szoboszlai and McAllister were.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like those were always like accounted for, and the idea was we were just going to wait until we could either get Levi Colwell, and if we didn't get Levi Colwell, we'll just get.
And that would have solved our problems almost immediately. Because that definitely puts Trent into midfield, and we got a back. We have a legitimate back three, and so I was high on that. And if that would have happened, I would have been really high on Liverpool going into the season at this point.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm still like, I think we're gonna. My expectation as of right now is we compete for top 4. We may fall short.
Okay. Tamzeed, would you echo that sentiment?
Yeah, it's definitely top 4 and win Europa.
Okay, all right. I mean, I think those are high expectations.
Europa's trash. We won the Champions League. Europa League is embarrassing.
Yeah, I would like to see us.
Europa League account tweets us every day.
I would like to see us get out of the third round of the League Cup, so our kids can have some warm up for Europa. And then I'd like to see us make an okay run in the FA for the same reason. But I think, if we can win I think winning the Europa League is probably our best bet to get into the Champions League the following season.
No, I think we could definitely make top 4. I just want the Europa League. Anyway.
Well, I mean, right now, I don't think we get past Arsenal. We don't get past City. United we might get past because they've done
It
terrible
is
in the
not
transfer
a
window.
real team. They are the fakest Champions League squad.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I agree,
think
but they've gotten worse
it
in
is
this offseason.
fake.
no.
Like,
You
They
guys.
are never good.
I
They are
think,
never good.
I think that you underrate United at your own peril this season.
And then
Yeah,
Newcastle,
man, the butcher is coming. Oh,
who knows if they're going to be able to
six
repeat?
center backs, baby. Let's go.
But think about like Aston Villa. Aston Villa have reinforced. They look like they're going to be better than they were last year, and they
I believe in Emery.
right, yeah, right,
I know what his level is.
right. So I think they've got a legit manager. They've got a legit squad. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't expect
It's not
Tottenham
perfect.
and Chelsea to be pushovers like they were last year. I mean,
I'm a little
maybe
surprised.
Chelsea because they've only signed people no one knows. But
Yeah, and Chelsea are going through a transition year too, so they're kind of in the same boat. But like, the longer the Spurs thing goes on with Harry Kane, the longer they're like, the worse their like preseason gets over time. So like, there's a good chance Spurs just spurs it up anyway.
yeah,
I think so too.
It's really Newcastle and it's us versus Newcastle versus Arsenal versus City, I guess, and United on the outside for top 4, right? And I just think United are crap. They're just not good. Their players are incredibly overrated. They never sign good players. Like,
And they haven't signed any players
they didn't any player.
yet.
They
sign
keep racking
Mason
up
Mount.
50K.
This send Mason Mount.
Do we count Mason Mount as a player?
I think you should. I mean,
I think you definitely should. I think he's
70 million for a player on his last year of his contract. Oh, I'm not taking that club seriously.
And he played like 4 games last year.
injury. Okay, well,
Lampard didn't start him. Like, if your dad doesn't start you, I think like
he was
I
hurt. He was
agree.
hurt.
issues, right? Like those were signs. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
Daddy
I
Frank
think,
loses faith.
maybe he's washed now.
yo, I would be like the most happy person here if United were a meme club next year. That would make me so very happy.
It'd make
But-
all of us very happy.
But I don't.
I still think I think again they're currently more of a contender for the top 4 than Liverpool. But
I
again,
agree.
they started falling off last year. But United have always found a way to scrap through points.
It just it's back to like Ollie Ball again, right? Like they brought in
Oh.
Ten Hag to be like this like messiah of football,
And they
Like,
brought
come
in Howard Webb to run the refereeing.
Oh. You remember that season a couple years ago where Bruno was scoring like 25 penalties a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they want to run it back.
Yeah.
Peak Ollie Ball, they want it back.
Yeah.
But like they're back to scoring off of like crappy transitions again, and they're losing to any team that's like halfway decent.
Yeah.
Like United
Well,
barely stuttered over the wall.
Well, they fixed their back line, right?
Yes,
So their
they did.
back line was solid last year, even with Luke Shaw still playing, and that was enough to get them 1-0 wins or draws or whatever. Now they had bad losses.
You know how many teams that scored 3+ goals against United?
Yeah, but how the hell did they score enough goals to do that? Because their offense was atrocious. And again, Howard Webb giving
No. Like
some
I mean, like
penalties.
how many teams have put 3 or more past United?
There's
I
quite a
don't know.
few.
I mean, I know we did it.
There's quite a few.
We did it.
This season started with like 2-4.
But also, however, though, think about how many howlers did, even though he won the freaking gold mitts or whatever they're called. De Gea was not good.
Yeah.
No, he was not. He was absolutely not good. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's something about their season just feels fake. Like,
It
this is
does.
not
Like,
real.
well, it's like every time you actually sit down to watch a United game, they're like terrible. But then all the games you don't watch was the majority of them. Like they somehow managed to get points.
Right, it's just never convincing. I'll never take that team seriously.
Well,
Yeah, and I still spout the Howard Webb conspiracy. I'm never gonna let that go.
Oh yeah.
we shouldn't. We shouldn't. I mean, I'm sure.
Those
I heard the feels coming in. It feels fake. Had to get the feels glasses back out.
Man, we are circling the drain if we're getting the feels back out. All right. So expectations from Tamzeed were top 4, maybe, and Europa League. Jimmy wants to win the Europa League, right? All right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Tell us what you guys think. I think this was a a spirited conversation about Liverpool. I would love to hear in the comments below if you have thoughts about Liverpool. We also talked a lot about Manchester United tonight. So if you have thoughts about Manchester United, I'd love to hear that as well. Hit us up on Twitter. This podcast is at Red Card. Oh, excuse me. Hit us up on X. It's not,
Oh my god.
not Twitter anymore. But
Bird app forever.
yeah, RIP.
Maybe have you created your Threads accounts yet?
No,
No,
absolutely
we're not doing threads.
That guy is at KS Brad G, Whiteheart _Sean. I think that's at Team Dugan. Yeah, and Tamzeed, are you still at Firmino's dentist?
Yeah.
Heck
I think
yeah.
it's football enthusiast now.
Heck
And
yeah.
don't forget about the IG, Redcard_radio on
We
Instagram
got an
now.
idea.
I don't have an Instagram account.
Yeah, that's why I can't have a Threads account because I don't have an Instagram account. So I met James Tiffany. Hit us up. Join our Discord if you want to join the conversation. And if you want to harass us about coming on the podcast and talking about your soccer team, join our Discord and talk to us there, and maybe we'll see what we can do. But until then, thank you for tuning in. The last couple weeks I've been able to tease what we're doing next. I have no idea what we're doing next week, but you'll want to tune in and you'll want to listen because it'll be interesting, and it'll make us happy. But until then, have a good one.